afternoon. I call to order the county-wide multi-hazard mitigation plan public hearing. We have two public hearings today before our regular Board of Commissioners meeting, and the first one is on the county natural hazards mitigation plan. Basically, what this hearing will consist of is an opportunity for public comment. So if there's any member of the public who wishes to speak regarding this document, this plan, this is your opportunity too. And I just ask you to come forward, and probably for public comment, we'll probably be using these desks up here with the red lights with the microphones so that you can be heard. I'll call again for public comment on the natural hazard mitigation plan. And one last time, anybody to speak on this? In that case, I declare the hearing closed for the countywide multi-hazard mitigation plan and call open public hearing for the proposed 2014 budget. Once again, the board will be voting and hopefully finalizing the budget in today's regular board meeting, and this is an opportunity for public comment. Call once more for public comment for the 2014 proposed budget. And one last time, anybody for the proposed budget? Seeing nobody is wanting to speak today, I declare that public hearing closed as well. I now declare open the Board of Commissioners meeting. We start with the call to order, which I just did, and go to the Pledge of Allegiance. And will Commissioner Cooper start us with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And will the clerk please take roll call attendance?
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Commissioner Kinsella?
Here.
Commissioner McLean?
Here.
Commissioner Postula?
Here.
Chairman Shackleton?
Here. We move to additions and deletions to the agenda. Commissioner Kinsella.
I would like to amend the agenda and add three items here. One would be the tribal lawsuit, the MMRMA rebate document, and the 911 dispatchers contract.
I think the MMRMA is actually the renewal of the contract. Yes. And we can just add those under new business, I guess.
And Mr. Chair, the contract renewal, everybody has what's in front of them, but if there's specific questions, I think that should go into closed session. Otherwise, if there's not any big discussion, I would take a yes or no vote.
Okay.
What was that? I didn't hear that, Scott.
Seeing as this was a contract negotiation, if there's going to be extended discussion of it, the administrator's suggesting we would go into closed session. If we're just going to vote it up or down, we have the terms in front of us, and we can do that without going into closed session. Let's add everything right on to the end of new business after the letter G, and we'll take those three items one at a time. Are there any other proposed additions or deletions to the agenda? Then a motion to accept the amended agenda would be in order.
I'll make it.
Support. Commissioner Kinsella made the motion, and Commissioner Postula seconded it. All in favor? Is there discussion regarding the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Correspondence received in the clerk's office on page 3.
I'd move we acknowledge the receipt of the correspondence and forward them to the various committees as appropriate. Support.
Motion made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Pastula, that the correspondence be acknowledged and forwarded as appropriate. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Approval of the county board minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes here, starting with the regular meeting of November 12th, 2013. That is on page 4.
I'd move acceptance of the regular meeting of November 12th, 2013.
Commissioner, I need a second.
Support.
Commissioner McLean made the motion. It was supported by Commissioner Pastula that the regular meeting minutes be approved. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We have a public hearing that was also on November 12th, 2013, page 21.
I'll move for that approval.
Support.
Commissioner Pastula makes the motion, supported by Commissioner Cooper, that the public hearing minutes be approved. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. There's a workshop, November 13th, 2013, page 25.
I'd move acceptance of the minutes of the workshop on November 13th, 2013.
I'll support that.
Commissioner McLean makes the motion, and it is supported by Commissioner Kinsella to approve the workshop minutes November 13th. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to public comments. Is there any member of the public that would like to address the board at this time? And again, yeah, up with the microphone would be great.
Do you want me right here or over
Please,
there?
yeah, use with the microphone,
Okay.
please.
All right, if I sit then?
Please, yeah, make yourself comfortable.
Good evening, County Commissioners. The spirit of cooperation, empathy to persons needing help, and the care for a child vanished with agencies in Chippewa County. Myself and my family's first worker were shocked by how we and family were treated by law enforcement, Hiawassee Behavioral Health, 911 dispatch, and War Memorial Hospital during a crisis. The results and roadblocks we encountered that day and night added to a devastating situation and destroyed public confidence in our county government, and almost paralyzed the family in need of getting the help they needed for their child. It will take more than a change in attitudes to change what concerns I'm about to tell you. During this crisis, we called Hiawassee Behavioral Health crisis line, which took about approximately 2 minutes to answer their line to obtain information regarding a child in need of mental health services evaluation. We were informed that the child needed to be evaluated at War Memorial Hospital, and the child could be transported by law enforcement if needed. We proceeded to the family home to evaluate the situation. It was determined that the child needed a mental health evaluation. We called tribal police and requested law enforcement transportation, and were told that they did not do this. We then called 911 dispatch and were told that they would send someone to talk with us. Tribal police arrived at the home. We informed them of the situation and they talked with the family. The law enforcement officers were uncooperative and unempathetic to the family's needs. Tribal police officers informed us they would not transport without a court order, or for us to transport if the child jumped out of the car. Oh well. My worker and myself went to Chippewa County Probate Court and requested an order for transport. The probate court personnel were helpful and explained the process to us. We then proceeded to get a required signature from the parent. We called 911 dispatch as advised by probate to have the judge page to sign the transport order. 911 dispatch operator informed us that they would not page the judge for us. We contacted probate again and we were told the judge was where the judge was to have the order signed. The judge and probate court were very professional and wanted to ensure that this child received the help needed. We then called 911 dispatch to inform them that we had a court order for transportation of a child. 911 dispatch continued to question us if we really had a signed order for transport. The dispatcher was unprofessional in dealing with the situation. The dispatcher finally agreed to notify law enforcement that we had an order to transport. We arrived at the family home and shortly after tribal law enforcement arrived. We provided them with the court order and the tribal police officer McLeod informed us that he would not honor the court order and did not know who the judge was that signed the order. We informed him that it was signed by Judge Church, the probate court judge. Officer McLeod said he did not have to honor this order. He was very condescending and questioned our understanding of the process. After some conversation, tribal law enforcement followed us with the child and parent to War Memorial Hospital, where they dropped the family off at the curb. At this point, we asked officers for their business cards, and they would not provide us with their cards, and then we asked their names. They did not want to provide us with their names, but they finally did. We escorted the family to the emergency room and informed that we would needed a mental health evaluation for this child. They informed us to take a seat. It would take approximately 3 hours. The child's behavior was erratic. The child continued to do self-harm to himself and was uncontrollable and destructive. We called Hiawatha Behavioral Health Crisis Line to inform them that we needed the child to be evaluated and was put on hold for several minutes again. Finally, the line was answered, and we were told that the child had to be medically cleared before they would even be called in to complete an evaluation. We waited for 4.5 hours to get into a room in the emergency room. Meanwhile, you had a 7-year-old child who needed help, who hadn't eaten, and whose bedtime was 8 p.m., not receiving appropriate attention to his needs. Then after waiting 4.5 hours for a room, it took the emergency room doctor another 45 minutes to come into the room. This room was very small and not accommodating for this situation. The child continued to be destructive and self-harming during this time. No nurse or other emergency personnel assisted this family. The doctor came in, talked very briefly to child and parent, and left. He said he would contact Hiawatha Behavioral Health. Then a nurse came in and informed the parent and us about what was happening. She was appropriately understanding. The child began to hit the call button and asking for food. The nurses, aides, and interns were rude, unempathetic, and had an attitude of not wanting to help. Then the staff from the lab arrived to draw blood from the child. The child became upset and scared. The staff from the lab were patient, gentle, and explained the process to the child. Then a nurse abruptly entered the room and said, "I'm not putting up with this." She manhandled the child and threw the child on the bed and yelled at the child. The child began to cry and was more scared and frightened at this point. The lab staff tried to calm the child down and finally were able to draw their blood. Most of the emergency room personnel were mean and disrespectful to the child and the mother. During this entire ordeal, no one even asked us who we were or if it was okay for them to talk in front of us about the situation. I went and asked the emergency personnel at front desk what was happening, and they informed me that Hiawatha Behavioral Health had been called in to complete an evaluation, and were told that it would take another hour before someone would arrive. So it's 8 hours later at this point. Still no evaluation and very little cooperation from any agency we dealt with so far, and this child needed help. During this time, the nurses, aides, and interns continued to be rude to this child. The child asked for ice cream and was told there wasn't any. He was hungry and had been up for several hours. Finally, one of the nurses provided the child with ice cream and Jell-O. Then a Hiawatha Behavioral Health crisis worker arrived. The HBH worker talked with the child, and she laughed inappropriately at the child's answers to questions and asked inappropriate questions to a child, questions that a 7-year-old child would not even know how to understand. She also wanted to talk with the parent in front of the child about prior abuse, which was totally inappropriate. This situation made the child more aggressive and hostile and threatening more self-harm. The HBH worker left the room. I then went and asked the HBH worker what was happening. I was informed that the worker had to call her superior to talk with them. Approximately 2 hours later, the HBH worker informed us and the parent that she had to provide Marquette General Hospital with paperwork and would take a while yet. At that time, the parent requested the emergency room doctor or nurse provide her child with something that would calm them down. After providing something to calm the child down, the child became more stimulated. The child wandered in the hall, was eating antibacterial foam, sticking items into his eyes, and the child wanted and trying to get into the hazardous waste containers. The staff at the front desk continued to antagonize this child, and the child became more aggressive and behaviors escalated. The HBH worker came in and informed us that she had to get an order for transport. We informed her the tribal police had an order from Judge Hurst that included Marquette General Hospital. The HBH worker left and came back and informed us the tribal police could not find that order, and that it did not have it, and that they would not transport the child, and they transported the child to War Memorial Hospital as a favor to us. The HBH worker informed us that she would have to get another order. The child's behaviors continued to escalate, and no one even checked in on how the child was doing. The child rang the call bell, and 2 sheriff deputies entered the room to see what the child needed. The child asked for ice cream for the child, because the child's arm was sore from the blood drop. The sheriff's deputies were kind and appropriate with the child. I asked them why they responded to the call button, and they informed us that the emergency room personnel did not want to help us anymore. They brought him the ice. The HBH worker came into the room around 2 a.m. and informed us that tribal police and city police were fighting over who would need to transport the child. My family's first worker went into the hallway, and the deputies informed my worker that they would be willing to transport but needed the sheriff's okay. Then I went into the hallway and asked the tribal police, deputies, and emergency room personnel what was happening, and was informed they were pulling a car around. I went back into the room with my worker, the parent, and the child. Then a tribal police officer abruptly entered the room and told the child to get his things, he was leaving. The child asked where they were going, and where he was going, and he began to cry. The HBH worker did not facilitate this transition, or the parent or us what was happening. The child and parent were emotional and upset. The officer took the child and transported the child to Marquette General Hospital. This was an unacceptable 14 hours ordeal for an adult, let alone a little child. We wanted you to be aware of this situation in hopes that it will not occur again to a family or a child. The systems are broken and need to be fixed. And I'm going to hand this to the county clerk because I like to put in the record.
Is there anyone else in the public who would like to speak under public comment? This is your opportunity. And one last call for public comment. Public comment period is closed. We move on to old business. We go to appointments to board, committees, agencies, authorities, and starting with the Chippewa County Building Authority. Okay, the building authority needs 2 appointments, and we have 2 applications. I believe they're both current members as well. So,
Just make a motion to,
yeah. why don't we
I move
just-
that the nominations be closed, and Ronald Meister and James Taylor receive unanimous ballot of the appointments to the Chippewa County Building Authority.
I'll support that.
Motion is made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner Kinsella, that Mr. Meister and Trainer be reappointed to the Chippewa County Building Authority. Is there discussion regarding the motion? Or we need a roll call vote on that, or can we just do a voice vote? I think we-
voice vote,
Because
isn't
he,
it?
Because the way it was
way
done, I
it-
think you do a voice vote.
right,
'Cause it's-
right.
yeah. All right, then all in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed vote nay. Motion carries. We move to the Board of Health. And in this case, we have 1 appointment needed, and we have 3 applicants. Again, this is the Board of Health. This position expires on December 31st, 2018. The current member is Tom Farnquist, and he has applied for reappointment. There's 2 other applicants also, James Bias and Michael, is it Millette or Millette? Oh, Millette. I might be slightly mispronouncing it. I think what we need to do is probably have the clerk take a roll call vote on this, please.
Commissioner Cooper,
Farnquist.
Commissioner Kinsella,
Farnquist.
Commissioner McLean,
Farnquist?
Commissioner Postula,
Bias.
Chairman Shackleton.
Tom Farquist. And I was going to. Department of Human Services is the next one. That's
Okay.
on page 39. We have two applicants, John Kibble and Robert Shimmons, and Kibble is the current member. And would the clerk please take a roll call vote on this?
Commissioner Cooper,
Shimmons.
Commissioner Kinsella,
Kibble.
Commissioner McLean,
Shimmons.
Commissioner Postula,
Kibble.
Chairman Shackleton.
Kibble. Move to District Library Board, page 40. That is one applicant, or rather one appointment. We have two applicants, Karen McClaney and Janice Repka, and Karen McClaney is the current member. And will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Cooper,
Karen McClaney.
Commissioner Kinsella,
McLeany.
Commissioner McLean,
McClenny.
Commissioner Postula,
McClenny.
Chairman Shackleton.
McClaney. We move to the Economic Development Corporation. Those are chair appointments. We have, fortunately, we have very good applicants for 3 appointments. Any of these 4 applicants would be good, although I have decided to appoint Dan Dasho, who is a current member, Kurt Perrin, and Ralph Wilhelms to serve on the Economic Development Corporation. And with that, we move to Hiawatha Behavioral Health, page 42. We have one appointment needed. The current member is Kathy Carnes, and she and Tracy Holt have applied for appointment. Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Cooper,
Kathy Kearns.
Commissioner Kinsella,
Kathy Kearns.
Commissioner McLean,
Tracy Holt.
Commissioner Postula,
Kathy Cairns.
Chairman Shackleton.
Kathy Carnes. Move to the Transportation Authority, page 43. We have one appointment to make. The current member is Ted Postula. He, along with Pamela Kildall and Jim Atkins, have applied. And would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Cooper,
Pastula.
Commissioner Kinsella,
Ted Postula.
Commissioner McLean,
Ted Pastula.
Commissioner Postula,
Ted Postula.
Chairman Shackleton.
I'll make it unanimous, Ted Postula. We move to War Memorial Hospital, page 44. We have one appointment to make, and the current member is Ron Callery, who has served many, many years on the hospital board and has not asked to be reappointed. We do have applicants of Richard Bennett, Tracy Holt, Holly Kibble, Jeannie McCullough, David Scott, and James Trainer. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 applicants. And would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Cooper,
Holly Kibble.
Commissioner Kinsella,
Dave Scott.
Commissioner McLean,
Jeannie McCauley.
Commissioner Postula,
Holly Kibble.
Chairman Shackleton.
Holly Kibble. So with a majority of votes, Holly Kibble is appointed. And is that it? Okay, that's it for the appointments.
Scott, can I just make a clarification?
Yes.
We don't actually appoint that member to the hospital board. We make a recommendation to the hospital board, and the hospital board actually appoints that individual. It's in their bylaws that we make a recommendation for 4 throughout the course of the thing, and then they appoint those individuals they see fit. So we're not, this is not a county appointment, it's a recommendation from the county board to the hospital board.
That's correct.
Okay.
Although let me just add that historically, the hospital does go along with the county and
Sure.
accept the application.
For sure. But I mean, it's not
You're
a
right,
county appointment.
technically, the hospital board, yeah.
Okay.
Administrator's report on page 45, Administrator German.
You'll see the various reports there, Veterans Affairs, Animal Control, War Memorial Hospital, Public Defender, and the Sheriff's Department. The only thing I have to add is, we finished negotiating with the dispatchers late this afternoon and came to an agreement. You have that paperwork in front of you, and there'll be a vote on that later. And also today, we decided that we would go to impasse with corrections. Thank you.
Move to standing committee reports, starting off with Personnel, Equalization, Health, and Social Services. That's Commissioner Kinsella.
Let me just get there. A regular meeting of the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners Personnel Equalization, Health, and Social Services Committee was held on Monday, December 9th of this year at the Chippewa County Courthouse in Sioux. Chairman Kinsella called the meeting to order at 10:02 with a quorum present. Members present were Don McLean, Ted Postula, and George Kinsella. Members absent, none. Others present, Judge James Lambros, Administrator Jim German, and Deputy Administrator Kelly Church. There were no additions or deletions to the agenda. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Postula to approve the agenda as presented. On a voice vote, the motion carried. There were no public comments, and we moved right to the agenda items. The Circuit Court personnel request. Judge James Lambros addressed the committee regarding the unexpected retirement of friend of the court, Thelma Bospus, effective 12/31 of this year. Although the judge expressed his appreciation for an excellent job done by Ms. Bospus, he indicated he would like to improve the efficiency of the friend of the court office by adjusting the friend of the court job description and hire an attorney/referee so that the friend of the court may hold court hearings, take testimony, and have the ability to enforce the orders, which currently cannot be done. Judge Lambros addressed the needs of the position in that he will need a seasoned, skilled attorney with experience in family law. He indicated that he would like the committee to consider the grade 17 level, as this position would be equal to that of the magistrate. The position would be full-time 40 hours. The new hire would be under the county's hybrid retirement program, would be responsible for 20% co-payment of the health insurance premium, and would have a probationary period with review with the judge and committee. Currently, the friend of the court position is a grade 15 at the 5-year rates due to Ms. Bospus' 30-plus years with the county, and the position pays $69,384 plus sick time payout for any unused time over the 168-hour threshold. The position is budgeted for $92,844 in fiscal year 14. That includes both wages and fringes. The committee addressed their concerns of the pay scale, how to pay for it, cross-training, setting precedents for moving someone to the top in the pay scale, and the efficiency of the office, having it run the way it is now. Discussion ensued. The judge and the committee also discussed the outstanding collections due to the court and how that would be addressed. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Postula, to fill the friend of the court position at the annual salary grade of $69,384 for fiscal year 2014 at 40 hours per week, and then progress the position to grade 17 for fiscal year 2015, and to forward this motion to the Finance Committee for consideration. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and it was 2-1, Commissioner Kinsella voting nay. Actually, that was moved to the full board, yes. Under Veterans Intern, the Veterans Counselor Beth Yak requested approval for the office to become a U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs work-study aid site. Once the request is approved, it will be possible to hire a work-study student to work up to 25 hours weekly at minimum wage. This student would be employed by the USDVA, and there would be no cost to the county. Ms. Yaki included a job description for the committee's review. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Pastula, to approve the request from the Veterans Counselor to be approved to hire a work-study student through the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs for up to 25 hours per week. The student will be an employee of the U.S. DVA. On a voice vote, that motion carried. And I think we probably should follow that with a motion here, so I'll make the motion.
I'll support that.
Motion made by Commissioner Kinsella, supported by Commissioner McLean. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Under the heading of Administrator Evaluation, the committee reviewed the performance evaluation for Chippewa County Administrator worksheet. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Pastula, to have the Personnel Chairman Kinsella hand out the evaluation sheets to the board and to have the worksheet returned to Chairman Kinsella by February. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I'll move that. We need a date in February when everybody can get that back.
We'll make it by February 1st, then we'll be able to present it at the February board meeting.
All right, how about February 1st? I'll make that part of the motion for February 1st.
Okay.
I'll support that.
Motion made by Commissioner Kinsella, supported by Commissioner McLean. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
There were no additional comments under committee member and chairperson's comments. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Pastula, to adjourn the meeting. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I move for the acceptance of this report.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Kinsella, supported by Commissioner McLean, that the minutes of, geez, I'm on my front page here, of the Personnel, Equalization, Health, and Social Services Committee, meeting December 9th, those minutes be accepted. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to finance, claims, and accounts. Commissioner Cooper.
Regular meeting of the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners, Finance, Claims, and Accounts was held Thursday, December 12th. Happened to be Kathy Milford's birthday, wasn't it, Kathy?
Bring cake?
Anyway, at the courthouse, we called the meeting order at 5 p.m. with a quorum present. I was there, Scott, George, and Don McLean. Captain Stewart was absent. Kathy Noel, Margie Hank, Jim German, Judge James Lambrose, Debbie Cirque, Brian Pepper, Chuck Lenhart, Kathy Melford, Sharon Kennedy, and Kelly Church are also in attendance. No additions or deletions. The agenda was approved. Under public comment, Prosecuting Attorney Brian Pepper addressed the committee regarding the recent decision to eliminate the same prosecutor, of which approximately one-third of the caseload is within Chippewa County. There are approximately 75 cases annually. Mr. Pepper asked that the committee reconsider the restoration of one assistant prosecutor for his office in order to maintain caseloads. We took that under advisement, I guess. Correspondence and informational items, we received the monthly treasurer's report and the monthly travel report. On the agenda items, we reviewed the updated OPEB analysis with regards to the establishment of a healthcare trust fund. Chuck Lenhart answered questions and recommended using MERS to set up the fund. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackleton, to establish the retiree healthcare funding vehicle trust fund with MERS by transferring $2 million from the delinquent tax revolving fund and $1,247,516.20 from the Fund 296, the healthcare set-aside fund, and to make the appropriate budget amendments. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner McLean. Is there discussion? Now, at this time, we don't have to designate which investment it's going into. Is that correct?
We have the resolution attached in tonight's board, and that resolution does in fact ask. And in there they have the four asset classifications, or four groups, and we can look at that. And they gave us a handout. Of course, Scott, I mean, we can make, we can move in between those. We can put it all in one, or divide it all up, depending how we want to, what our risk
So
aversion is.
this has to be a part of the action that we're
It's
taking right
part
now?
of the resolution. There's a couple fill in the blanks on the resolution. We can fill that in tonight, and then if we have a change of heart, perhaps we can look at different. I know you sent us something in email that had a lot of different funds and such, but it appears, Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have 4 choices here, correct? And they rank,
I don't see the,
it was
oh, it's that one?
Kelly emailed it to us. It's a one-page MERS. Heading is Retiree Health Funding Vehicle Investment Services Program Investment Menu Summary. It ranges from a 10-year average, the MERS Short-Term Income Fund on a 10-year average 4.66. The MERS Diversified Fund average 5.45. The MERS Total Market Fund over a 10-year period averaged 7.4%, and the MERS Established Market Fund over a 10-year period averaged 7.91%. So we got.
I don't have one here. Can I?
You want to look at mine?
May I? Thank you. Did MERS make any recommendations how they felt for? I mean, this is different funds are set up for different purposes. It can be for a defined benefit. It can be for what we're doing for the healthcare.
But these are specific to the healthcare trust fund. These are not a retirement fund. It's specific to the healthcare trust fund.
These 4 funds.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually they're available for other ones too.
Sure.
But they narrowed it down to these 4 for the retiree health funding vehicle.
And I would say this: we're in it for the long haul. You know, if like EDC 100% funded and they put it in the most secure one they got there, the one that got about a 4% return. We're in it for the long haul. I'd say we put it in one of those last 2, and I don't have it in front of me now. I'm sorry, Scott.
Total. That's right. It's total. Well, I have it. This
Right,
why
right.
you don't.
So-
It's total market and established market.
Right, and both of them have basically the same, close to the same rate of return on it. And like I said, we're in for the long haul. We're going to have this in here for at least 50 years, I think, before the last retiree we're done paying for them. So we shouldn't look at short term and perhaps, we should put one of those. It's going to have the ups and downs. You know that. It does that. The market does, but
Did and I don't usually call out people in the audience, but since this I wasn't quite prepared to decide where the money's going to go tonight. Chuck, did you have opportunity to look this over and say, well, here's where it ought to go?
I looked it over and I think those are what they consider their conservative type funds for that type of thing. And I'm sure if it was an investment broker, they would do the pie chart and say, quarter. But, it's like retirement. If you're in it for more than a 10-year period or something, you could take the ups and downs and go for the higher investments. It's up to how the board feels on investments.
But that needs to be a part of the motion, doesn't it?
well, I don't know. No, when we do the resolution, Scott, I think we can plug it in the
At the
resolution
end.
because I got to plug it. We got several different selections in that resolution.
Right, because once we transfer the money to MERS, they put it into one of these funds.
And it can be moved within those funds. We can move that. Even if we move it now and we decide to put it in those last 2 with the higher rate of returns, 50% in each one. And then at some point we get spooked or something and you want to put it in another one, you can do that. But I wouldn't recommend basically day trading and moving it every quarter. You know what I mean? I would.
So, how often do they allow you to move it? Do you know, anyone? Sometimes these funds only let you make one move them into a year.
Or quarterly. On the one I'm in, we can do it once a quarter. But you're right. I mean, I think once we establish this, we're going to get somebody up here to brief us on those kind of questions. Also, how we start charging our grant programs and our special revenue funds, how we can get reimbursed from that for the healthcare, for the future payments of the healthcare, and then also when we start drawing out of that trust fund. We don't want to put it in there and draw it out the same year, but clearly at some level, you want to build that principal up to a certain level, and then you want to start drawing out. And I'm not certain when all that is, but I think once we establish the vehicle, then we can do the funding mechanism and get those questions answered. Correct, Chuck?
Okay. The motion before us though is to establish the fund, transfer the money, and the resolution will have to include which fund to put the money into.
Correct.
All right. So, is there any further discussion on the motion that's in front of us? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
MMRMA, the committee reviewed a letter from the risk management manager, John Catola, on a net asset distribution from MMRMA, which this year is $44,776. It was recommended by Mr. Catola that the entire amount be placed in the retention fund as the Chippewa County still has pending lawsuits. Discussion ensued. It's moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by George Kinsella, to request the net asset distribution check of $44,776 to be refunded to the county and to make the budget amendments reflecting this transaction. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner Kinsella. Is there discussion?
What was the other one that came today? I thought there was a lesser amount on that, or is that something different?
The other
The
one's
other
a
one's
renewal
the-
for insurance, $186,000.
Oh, the premium is, okay, gotcha.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Yeah, I seen it earlier somewhere.
ImageSoft settlement agreement, the committee reviewed a settlement agreement that the administration and ImageSoft reached on the project of $140,000, which was down from the original $240,000. This change to the statement of work will have only the prosecutor's office completed. The amount owing to ImageSoft will be $15,578.02. The county has previously paid $124,422.33. It's moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Kinsella, to approve the ImageSoft statement of work settlement as negotiated for signature and to pay the balance of $15,578.02 due to ImageSoft to finish the project. On a voice vote, the motion carried.
I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Kinsella. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
I was just gonna,
Go ahead.
I think it's just a bad deal all the way around. And I don't think we should even settle up on that. I mean, it's not even functioning. The imaging in the prosecutor's office, to my knowledge, isn't even working. So I think we were sold a bill of goods. We got screwed basically for $140,000, and I'm gonna vote no on this.
Well, part of the agreement, just to make clear, is that, I think everybody knows that the system in the prosecutor's office is not completed, and they won't be paid the balance, and they are, part of their job is to finish the prosecutor's office, have it up and running. Was it a bad deal? Yes, absolutely. And I think this is our best out, though, and it's not great, but it's the best of a bad situation. Anyone else? All in favor of the motion, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay.
Nay.
Motion carries.
We had a proposal for a scanner, put RFP out there. The committee reviewed the RFP for a scanner for the Register of Deeds requested by Sharon Kennedy to be paid from the Fund 256's technology funds. It was moved by Commissioner Kinsella, supported by Commissioner Shackleton, to approve the RFP for release to purchase a Fujitsu FI 670 scanner to be purchased with Fund 256 funds. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner Kinsella. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
The committee reviewed a request from Judge Lambrose via the Personnel Committee to begin search for a new friend of the court, as the current person serving that position is retiring. Discussion took place on if the position should be filled with an attorney and at what rate of pay. Judge Lambrose handed out a new job description to the committee for review. Judge Lambrose also indicated that there would be a probationary period and this person would not be able to maintain a private practice. It was moved by Scott, seconded by Don McLean, to approve filling the position with an attorney at the grade 16, 2-year level at the 80-hour salary level, which is $73,205.81. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner McLean. Is there discussion?
Is this the final debate on it, or we got
Yep,
more
this
down
is-
in,
Nope, this is
in
it.
the budget?
No, I think this is it. This is,
Okay. I think it's a done deal, it's gone. I kinda want to see it at a lower level, fund it the way it was for a year or so with a entry-level attorney, but, I'm probably not gonna get my way, and I guess just when it passes, I'd like to look forward, if we got some money left in the budget, to give our employees here a raise also, that's been waiting for it.
Commissioner Cooper?
I think what, first of all, they keep talking, we're gonna replace it with an attorney. There was an attorney in there before, job requires an attorney, this is not something new, this is not something special that they brought to the table. It was there, that position was filled about 8 years ago with a non-attorney by the 50th Circuit Court judge. The judge has his jurisdiction, he can say, and he can hire who he wants at whatever level he wants. This judge wanted to hire in at a 17, the personnel committee wanted to leave it at a 15, this was basically a compromise to do the 16.
He might not know that, don't tell him.
But you know, so it was and I guess compromise, not everybody gets what they want, and you know what I mean, and it does leave a bad taste in the mouth for a lot of people, because there's been folks, as I said, you know, as we all know, that haven't gotten any raises, and they're working 36 hours and so on and so forth, and so we come along and do this, but you know, maybe we can make it up to them, I don't know.
Well, and, you know, unfortunately, I understand there's some employees that aren't happy about it, they feel they're being slighted, and that's, sincerely, it's unfortunate. I'm sorry that is the case. When I talked to the judge and he wanted to move this up 2 steps, 2 levels, and explained the additional responsibilities, the additional requirement that this would be an experienced attorney that would have to leave private practice, and the benefits that he thought would come to the county, I offered a compromise for my support that it go up 1 level instead of 2, and I felt that that was defendable, that if we were going from a non-attorney to an attorney with additional job responsibilities. So that was a compromise and agreement I made, so I'm going to stick by the agreement I made. So that's where my support is. So, anyone else want to comment on it, or are you ready to vote? All in favor of the motion, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Claims and accounts, the committee reviewed the bills and payroll presented for approval. It's moved by Commissioner Shackman, supported by Commissioner Kinsella, to recommend the approval of the claims totaling $225,878.37. Other fund claims of $348,501.26. Payroll of $637,884.55. Health Department claims of $503,748.23. Total claims of $1,716,012.41. That's vouchers H1 through H253. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support. Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner Pastula. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Well, we moved to new business. We have quite a few items
Well,
here.
wait, Scott, I gotta finish up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Don.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
We had a few budget adjustments, basically year-end house cleaning, cleaning up stuff so we don't get a lot of findings. They are all listed out in your minutes here. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackleton, to approve the budget adjustments as presented. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner McLean, that the budget adjustments be made as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
There was no other business to come before the committee, and the committee was adjourned, the meeting was adjourned at 5:40 PM, and I move for the acceptance of this report.
Support.
Commissioner Cooper moves for the acceptance of the minutes of the Finance, Claims, and Accounts Committee, December 12th, support by Commissioner Kinsella. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to resolutions. We have a couple of those. The first one is a tribute to Spencer Niebel, city manager, who In fact, today is his first day in his new city of Newport, Oregon. And I had the pleasure of delivering this to him at his farewell party on behalf of the commission. We do need to formally approve it, though.
Move for the approval of resolution 1326.
I'll support that.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner Kinsella. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Kinsella.
Yes.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
Commissioner Postula.
Yes.
Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. And resolution 1326 is approved. We move to 1327, a tribute to Thelma Boss, longtime county employee who is retiring. And is there a motion?
I'll move for the approval of resolution 1327.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner Pastula. And we certainly do wish Thelma well in her retirement. Would clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Kinsella.
Yes.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
Commissioner Postula.
Yes.
Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. Item C is the MERS Defined Benefit Adoption Agreement with the EDC, page 63. Do we need an explanation on this? Or is this pretty much,
Language for the agency.
Administrator German, could you just tell us real quick what we're doing here?
This is just some cleanup language for the EDC.
Okay.
I'll motion this.
Kelly, what is that? Is that what that is?
Did he make a motion?
What's
I
that?
made a motion.
I'll support that. Motion made by Commissioner Kinsella, approved by Commissioner McLean. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
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 Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to resolution 1328. This is that MERS retiree health funding vehicle. It is on page 73.
On page 74, Scott, is where we gotta fill in the blank here. Where we wanna put the money.
Yeah, included in the motion, as you mentioned, is going to be selecting one or more funds for the money to be deposited into.
Don, what were, excuse me,
Go ahead.
what were the ones that you said were the more
The top
reasonable
two,
ones?
that MERS total market fund and the MERS established market fund. The market fund is a little bit higher, I don't, again, have it, what is it?
It's right here. If you look at the 10-year, the total market fund was 7, the 7.04. Established market was 7.91, and total bonds, short-term intermediate bonds as a percentage.
That was .33. I have it in my notes here, but I may be wrong. And then I had the MERS short-term managed income fund at .27. Is that
Yeah, you're
something?
looking at the quarter.
We had a month, a year,
Oh,
a
okay.
2 year,
Yeah.
we're looking at the 10-year.
Yeah, look at-
Scott's
okay.
reading numbers from
Yeah.
the 10-year.
Yeah, you have a MERS short-term managed income fund, that's 4.66 over 10 years.
Okay,
1 year, again, it's minimal, it's 0.23.
yeah, all right.
You have the MERS diversified bond fund, that's 5.45 over 10 years. Over 1 year, it's a 1.5% return. Both of those are going to be very low risk and frankly low return. MERS total market fund is 7.04%, 10-year return. 1 year is over 10%. MERS established market fund is a 7.91% over 10 years and nearly 12% for 1 year. So if you think the market's going to go up, then these market funds are great. If you think the market's going to go down, then it's not necessarily where you want to go. But again, if you're in for the long run, the short-term ups and downs of the market's not a big deal. I mean, I know any retirement money I have is in the market. So.
The only other variable in these things are the total market fund is the amount that they charge us for asset management. One is $8 a thousand, and one is $8.30 a thousand.
Correct.
Scott,
The total market fund was $8, and the established market fund is $8.30. But if you look at the,
rate of return.
yeah, you know, if you have, it's
Sure.
probably a pretty insignificant number if the rate of return, if there's a difference at all, you know.
I would think that we could put 100% in the established market fund and let it rip, hopefully.
I think for an initial investment, I'm okay with that, but I think it's something that we need to review on a regular basis.
We'll get these statements quarterly, Kelly? You know, we can get them quarterly, and then so we'll find out how often we can move that money, unless you wanna put 50-50, half in the total market fund, half in the other fund, but.
Those two funds, I think, are gonna have an equal exposure to the,
Exactly.
to the, you know, to the market. I think what I'm more concerned about is that we have sort of a long-term systematic arrangement where maybe we have a committee. We establish a committee or some sort to get together, cause I'm just afraid if it's just the responsibility, you know, frankly, of the board or the finance committee, that it's just gonna kinda get forgotten about. It's just gonna be in there, how's it doing? Where I think we need a proactive committee that is actually sitting down minimally twice a year, reviewing where it's at and what should be done. So, I guess I don't wanna try to throw that together right here off, right away, but I think we should look at that for next year, establishing, some sort of a committee to really review this on a regular basis and make sure we're doing the right thing. So, think about that. So, do you want us to make a motion, Commissioner Cooper,
I
regarding
move
this
the approval
resolution?
of this funding vehicle resolution 1328, and in that, I would put 100% of our investment in the MERS established market fund for now. And that one we know has a rate of return, a 10-year average of 7.91.
I'd support that.
Okay, there's a motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner McLean. And the good news is that we're putting a big chunk of money away to take care of, future retiree health benefits. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to offer an amendment where we, by March 1 of 14, we appoint that committee you're talking about. That gives us time to bounce it around a bit, to review this on a, what do we, I don't know, I don't care if it's quarterly or annually or biannually, but certainly we want to get that committee going. So I'd like to amend the motion to say that by March 1 meeting, our March meeting. How about that?
I would say the motion dies from lack of support.
Okay?
I guess just to comment, I think it's a good idea, but we could do that somewhere else.
Well, I don't think it's anything we can throw together right at this moment. I wanna make sure that we are exercising our responsibility over this fund and not just put it away and forget about it. So, we do have a motion on the floor. All in favor, vote aye.
Is this a resolution?
Is this a resolution? It is a resolution. We'll need a roll call vote on this.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Commissioner Kinsella?
Yes.
Commissioner McLean?
Yes.
Commissioner Pastula?
Yes.
Chairman Shackleton?
Yes. And the resolution is approved. We move to item E, which is the EUP regional planning. This is regarding the Lake Superior St. Mary's River Water Trail Development Letter of Support. And they are looking for a letter of support. I think we wrote a fairly general letter that doesn't commit us to much of anything, except that we support the, what do they call it, inventory of the waterways.
I'd move acceptance of the letter of support for EUP regional planning.
I'll support that.
Motion made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Kinsella. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. And where are we now? Nope, F, 2014 budget.
All right.
We
I
have,
thought we added, okay, that was down there.
Yeah,
Hey, before we leave
we're
the
not
new
there yet.
business, you know, one thing we did forget, and, probably for next month, Ron Calry, after 34 years, I think, on the hospital board, we should have sent a resolution out to him,
okay.
so.
And I mean, it's Earl K. spent an
Oh, yeah.
inordinate amount of time on the EDC board. And we should, if we're gonna do a resolution, we should do one for Earl as well.
I think that's a good.
But
idea.
also at this time of the year, normally we send letters to everybody who volunteers and sits on the board, you know, to show our appreciation. Because like you said, Scott, there are some talented individuals on those boards. And they do, you know, they put in some good time on that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
we should-
I think we all know that the time you serve on the board or the committee is not the time that you're sitting at the meeting. There's a whole lot of thought and time you spend outside. That was not a budget item or anything that needed to be voted on, but thanks for bringing that up, Ted. We are still under new business, and we are on item F, which is the 2014 budget. We had before us the changes to the budget that we all received a long time ago in a big binder. And the changes are summarized on the front of your, what is it, 3-4 pages? And the way it actually appears is in the following pages. So at this time, this is an opportunity for commissioners to offer amendments before we vote on the actual budget. So if anybody would like to offer any amendments, this is your opportunity.
We had those amendments at the end there, Scott, on item G, which were the three. And paperwork challenged over here.
Yeah, we have a lot of papers in front of us today.
You're talking about amendments to the addendum or amendments to the budget, George?
Yeah, there were amendments. One of the items I wanted to discuss was some money for the fairgrounds. And if it's okay, I'll bring that up now.
Yes?
Okay.
It's now or never.
We've had a request, a long-standing request to the commission to help Kinross Township with fairgrounds maintenance. And the request was for $12,000. And I realize that a lot of that money has been spent, and right now the fairgrounds is probably pretty well frozen up for the winter. They were able to do the maintenance required to get the fair going and to get the restroom open. They got donations out there from Central Savings Bank and Fernelius to get those things going. Also, Brad Ormsby informed me his son and a couple other young men did their own fundraising drive to raise money to fix up the basement of the 4-H building, and they raised $1,000 by doing their own kind of can and bottle drives and some other things. Now, the important thing to remember is the fair is run by a fair board that uses the fairgrounds to have a fair. They do provide income via actions of the Lions Club handles the parking and they get to keep the money. The Telephone Pioneers used to do the grandstand booth to charge people to go in for admission to the grandstands, and they got to keep most of that money. So it's used for a lot of different activities. I myself, and I know you in the past, Scott, have been involved with the Queen contest out there, the Fair Queen. And I'd just like to point out that the Fair Queen candidates this year did receive some support from Public Defender Stratton and I believe Judge Church. And so we're looking for, I think at least $6,000 to help Kinross Township maintain the fairgrounds. It's a county fair. It's not, it's not Kinross Free Fair. It's a county fair. And so I wanted that on the agenda tonight because I'm looking to do that. It helps them to maintain the fairgrounds. So
Is that a motion?
I'll make that as a motion.
And I'll support that.
Motion made by Commissioner Kinsella, supported by Commissioner McLean, that the county give $6,000 towards repairs of basically the bathroom facilities, isn't that correct?
Well, yes, and fairgrounds maintenance in general that gets it ready, but the bathroom facility was just barely repaired to get it open, but it needs more work.
Before I recognize you, Don, Chuck, I'm going to put you on the hot seat for a second. I know you probably haven't had time to think about this, but we're aware that the county can't just make contributions to the United Way, for instance. You can't just give money that's county from the county treasury away as a contribution. Now, this is presumably to another unit of government, being the township. Does that change anything? Does that make it okay, or is this?
I think you can transfer from one local unit of government to another.
Okay.
I believe that's a eligible expenditure.
Okay.
If the board decided that they did want to do it, then we can verify it, that you can make that expenditure. It's not a legal expenditure, and then we would just say it didn't happen. But I think that because it's a local unit of government, you're not giving it to the 4-H, or you're not giving it to the nonprofit, you're giving it to Kinross Township.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Cooper.
I think with the fund balance that the Kinross Charter Township has, I think we'd be setting precedents here again. We got away from giving to the township board and a bunch of different ancillary, not ancillary, but different outfits. I think we gave Raber, that one fair, I think we did.
They asked for it and we never gave it to them.
And we never gave it to them.
So if
But
this passes-
it's Kinross Township property, it's Kinross Township's problem, they got the money, you know what I mean? We can't start giving money out to all these other little, then pretty soon you're gonna open the floodgates again, you're gonna have the townships coming, all these folks coming. And then here at the county particularly, we say we're poor, we try poor mouth, we haven't given our employees a raise in 3, 4, 5 years, whatever. And then we're going to just give money out to the Kinross Township without taking care of our folks here first. And I just even taking that out of the equation, I would say it's just wrong to do, and clearly going to vote no. And you heard me articulate that many times before. I'm not going to waver from that one. But I think too, looking at our employees and looking at some stuff that has come to light because of the friend of the court and some of the discussion that's taken place, it's just not right. So I'm going to vote no on that one.
I'm going to go along with Don, because we've got to take care of our employees, and if this does happen to pass, I'm going to be looking for some for the Stalwart Fair. It's been there 3 times as long as the Kinross Fair.
And again, I'm very sympathetic too on the county fair, and I've seen those facilities, and they're not in great shape. But I am very concerned about the precedent, because once, especially Commissioner Kinsella, when you say that it's basically to support the fairgrounds, then I just have a feeling it's coming back again next year, and it's coming back the year after, and it's coming back the year after. It's going to be a precedent from now on. It better just be a budgeted expense. And how do you do that and not give some money to a great event like the Stalwart Fair, or maybe the vets putting on the Scribbit Carnival or something? I don't know. So anyway, we have a motion before us. Anyone else want to
I'd
come
like
in?
one more crack.
Sure, go ahead.
The Stalwart Fair is the Stalwart Fair, and it may, if it had the title Chippewa County Fair on it, we're the Chippewa County Board. And the Chippewa County Fair, it doesn't discriminate against anybody. Everybody can go there anybody can go there and participate. People come from all over to go there. And I'm not demeaning the Stalwart Fair. It's been around a long time. It's a great little fair. And I just think if this were the Kinross Free Fair, maybe I'd feel different about it myself. But I know Ted and I have talked about this, and we've debated, and we're still friends. And but I do feel strongly we should send some money out there to help maintain that fairgrounds. So, thanks.
All right. We have a motion before us. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay.
Nay.
And I think we've got 2 yeses and 3 noes. Think you got that? Okay. Any other amendments to the budget you'd like to propose? Commissioner McLean?
I would like to propose that, or move that we set aside $15,000 for the Veterans Memorial for this year to get it off the ground finally. We've been talking about it for an extended period of time. I think that $15,000 would be appropriate to get the project done.
I'll support that. Then I have discussion.
Sure. Motion made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Kinsella. Discussion?
I have, I remember we talked about that this year, and we were willing to go all the way up higher than $15,000. And I'm not sure if it was our fault or the Vets Committee fault as to why it didn't get spent. But I'd like to, since we haven't got it, we should spend it in 14 and do the thing. Now, how that carries forward into next year's budget, I guess, if we didn't spend it this year, it should still be there, the way I look at it.
I don't think we have never budgeted it, George.
Oh, we didn't?
It never did, and then, this has been in the Building and Ground Committee since 2009, so you might wanna point your fingers at somebody else, but clearly, you point one at them and the rest pointing back at you, so, no, it's not that, it was never budgeted.
Well, let the record show I didn't point at anybody.
Well, I mean, you're
Mr.
saying, well,
Cooper, I held my pen in my hand.
But Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, we got a $40,000 to the good right now. And if we add this 15, we're gonna be down to 25,000 to the good, okay?
I would propose to you that if we were able to get a solid plan put together, that looks like a good, affordable, appropriate structure out there, that's something that we could probably add mid-year and see what we have available in funding sources at that time. Because I'd like to see it done too. It's been talked about for a long time. As I've said, it would also provide a opportunity on the county grounds for a place for people to, eat their lunch or read a magazine and enjoy a nice afternoon. So I think I'm going to vote against adding it to the budget, but I'm not against looking at it more and still possibly getting it done this year. So that's where I'm at. Anyone else? Commissioner Cooper?
And I'll just add this, from the Veteran Affairs Committee, when they discussed it up there, they would yeah, it's gonna be nice, but they would rather have all the services provided to our veterans, no one go cold, no one go hungry, take care of their veterans and spend that money on that, versus a monument or whatever, but I mean, I think it's been talked about and I think it's long overdue as well, so.
Anyone else?
I'm gonna vote no for that reason. I wanna get it done too, but I think just to get this balanced budget gone. I don't know, maybe we should have a committee out there doing some fundraisers too. Spreading through the whole county. Just on that note, I was just reading the Drummond Island paper last month. They're putting some sort of a Veterans Memorial on Drummond Island and having a fundraiser. So, they're kind of taking care of their own thing down there. Just a thought.
Anyone else? All in favor of the motion, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Nay?
Nay.
And I think that's 2 to 3 as well, right? Okay.
You won't, no.
We're the noes, I guess.
No, he voted yes,
3 to
so it
2.
passes.
I said yes.
Oh, did you vote yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so it did pass then. We got
Okay.
2 yeses, 3rd yes, and 2 noes. So that did pass. Any other amendments to the budget, any changes? Any thoughts before we vote on the entire budget?
I mentioned it in a closed session one time, and I mentioned it last workshop about raises. And I mentioned it 2%, and George made a smart comment in an email that Commissioner Cooper likes 2%. But I mean, and I'd see the next contract that you negotiated are 2%, 2%, 2%. So you know, I mean, I think it's high time. Again, I will say it again that we looked at our folks here in the courthouse and start giving them something. It's been a long time coming, and we can't. You know, we finally have a little surplus, and we're not wealthy clearly, but that 250,000 we were setting aside for the healthcare trust fund. Now we're kind of freeing that up, and so you know, but we're taking money to DTRF, and you know what I mean. So that's why we have this kind of a balance here, and I think we should look at some dedicated folks that were working. I know it did.
You know, just along with what Don's saying, I did a little research this afternoon, and a 2% raise would cost us $30,000 for the non-union at this point, and we have 25,000 left.
You know, Don, could you go over again what they did, and you're on the health department board?
At the Board of Health, when we looked at the health department, we talked about raises. Bottom line was, we went with a 25-cent an hour raise across the board, instead of a percentage raise. That way they got a little bit of something, eh, George? I mean, it was it was kind of a battle, not a battle, but there was a lot of discussion that went involved, and it's minimal. I'll guarantee that it's only $500 a year, but it's something. You know, they're not stagnating totally for forever. And like you said, it equates to about $500, you know, quarter an hour.
Yeah.
If you were, you know,
Well, you know, and when that came up in the budget time, I said, you know, if they're gonna do that and we're gonna approve their budget, I think we should look at that as well, because again, it's not a huge raise, but it is $500. I mean, heck, I'd take $500 right now, but, it's a raise, it's something, and, I've been kicking that idea around ever since, our workshop, and I still think it's an appealing idea.
Well, at the most, it would kind of put us on balance by $5,000 or $6,000, and in the size of our budget, we ought to be able to do it. I agree.
Well,
I would say if Commissioner Cooper is gonna make the motion, I'll support it, and we'll have real discussion.
I didn't even hear what you said. I was talking to Ted.
Oh,
You were
if
still
you're gonna
talking
make
about
that as a
25
motion of something, whether it's 25 cents or 1%er or 2%er, make the motion, I'll support it, and we'll get some real discussion going here.
Okay, I move that the county give all non-union employees a 25-cent an hour raise across the board, and then our union folks, you know what I mean? We can't forget about them, but we can't, you know, they
Well,
don't
we're
have openings in their
negotiating.
contracts, but
I'll
when it
support
comes
that.
up, just like this one here, you get a 2%, we should start moving that down the road, and I'll make that a motion.
I'll support that.
There's a motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner Kinsella, and, we're open for discussion.
Kelly, what did you say the total cost was for
14.
25 cents an hour?
A little over
14,000.
14,000.
So that leaves us with about $10,000 left. Do we think we'll have any more coming in by the end of the year? Is there gonna be a little bit to play with there later?
Never stops.
No. We're gonna have to approve the budget as it is here pretty soon, and don't come back till next year at this time.
Okay, we have, and I'm fine with the 25 cents. I'd point out that 1% is probably about the same amount roughly. So it's, at least total budget wise. So we have a motion before us for a 25-cent an hour increase for non-union personnel. Is there any further discussion?
I wish it could be more.
Yeah.
That is it.
I do too. I think our employees are deserving. We have a good history of a lot of dedicated folks around here.
We do, and I know, unfortunately, sometimes I think they don't feel appreciated, but I know, at least from my point of view, I know we have good, hard-working folks that do a great job for our community. So, all in favor of the motion, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Are there any other amendments that are being proposed for the budget?
Scott, I don't know if this is an amendment, but you know, Michelle, I don't have a problem moving Michelle to full-time, okay? But my problem lies in where she's gonna be working. And I still think if we put Michelle full-time and gave her financial responsibilities from the finance department, shifted some of that work off of Kelly, and then took some of the work that Chuck is doing and gave it to Kelly, we could save probably 15,000. We could cut Chuck's hours. You know, we're not gonna get rid of Chuck. I mean, I know, you know, you gotta have, but I know we could, I know she's, Michelle's very talented. Kelly's very talented. She's picked up a lot from Chuck. She brings a good, skill set, to the table, and I think we can save some money by doing that. You know, like I said, she's full-time in the budget right now. I mean, with this budget you gave us now, that's putting Michelle up to full-time, but we could probably actually shave maybe 10,000 at least off of Chuck's. We got him in there for 40,000. I think we could shave 10,000 off there. I don't know what. I mean,
We could take that up with personnel.
huh?
You know, it's gonna depend on your special projects, your grants, and that kind of.
I mean, again, you guys talk about our employees, and we got some damn good employees and some good resources here. And just like we're hiring Dave Petrangelo, and I don't know what's in the thing for it. And I think we should do that. I think our IT people should step up to the plate and take command. And you know, they've both been here for 10 years, and they should have some skill set. You know, why do we got to keep bringing Dave in? I think he's in there, what, for $4,000 you got him in the budget?
Yes, and the reason is,
You know, but-
even though they've been there for 10 years, I think Dave has been with the county much longer than 10 years.
Well, but at some
And he has
point,
a
at some
different
point,
type
the
of
learning
skill
curve
set.
is, you know, how long you got to hold their freaking hands? You know what I mean? How long of a learning curve do they need? Do we need David here all the time holding their hand? I don't think so. But,
Any other amendments that anybody'd like to offer?
We're, well, we had those items back there, and the extra in G was Burma, Tribal 2, and dispatcher contracts. Are those gonna require amendments? No, okay.
Okay. All right, I'm about ready to call for moving on to the actual budget if the board does not have any more amendments. Everybody's happy?
No.
No, we're getting through it.
Yeah.
So is that what you want, a resolution?
Yeah, I guess then,
1320, I would move for resolution 1329 to approve the budget
as amended.
as amended.
I'll support that.
Motion made by Commissioner Pastula, supported by Commissioner Kinsella, that we basically approve the budget for 2014. Discussion on that amendment, or motion rather. Now, this is a resolution, so this can require a roll call vote. Will the clerk please take that?
Commissioner Cooper,
no.
Commissioner Kinsella,
Yes.
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
Commissioner Pastula,
Yes.
Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. Okay, we have a resolution for a special tribute to Michigan State Police Trooper Wilson. That's on page 94 of your package.
I'll move for resolution 1330.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooper, supported by Commissioner Pastula, that the resolution be approved. Is there discussion? Clerk, please take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Kinsella.
Yes.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
Commissioner Pastula.
Yes.
Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. Okay, we now move to the three items that we've added to the agenda. I'll take the first one is the action that the county took in federal court regarding the Sioux Tribe. The Sioux Tribe's attorney provided us a letter today that requesting us to dismiss our action and indicating that they're willing to work with us in good faith negotiating the issues we're concerned with. And I think we should do that then. So I'm looking for a motion.
I will make that motion.
I'll support that.
So there's a motion made by Commissioner Pastula, supported by Commissioner Kinsella, that the county dismiss the action regarding the Sioux tribe and the 2% money, and will pursue negotiating and talking through the issue and coming to a resolution with the Sioux tribe. Is there discussion?
This, if we prove to be again unsuccessful in reaching some kind of an accord, this could be reinstated.
It could be. Let's assume it's not.
That's all we have to.
Let's just assume that we're gonna.
We're all doom and gloom tonight, so I.
No, I would, have very good meeting with the tribe's attorneys. They seem very agreeable to work out our differences, and that's definitely a preferential way to do it. And, so I think this is the right thing to do. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. The second thing we added is the MMRMA policy renewal. This is the county's liability insurance policy, and it needs to be renewed for the year, and they did get us the information, and very late. That's why it's being added and dealt with now.
Looks like we're gonna save about $8,000, so I'll make the motion we renew at the lesser rate.
I'll support that.
Motion made by Commissioner Kinsella, supported by Commissioner McLean, that we renew our liability insurance with MMRMA for 2014.
So that's another 8,000 on top of the 8 that we had last year? Are we gaining?
I don't know, was it budgeted? Was it
trying to
budgeted
get
at the
6
old
to
rate?
go to Kinross there, but
Budgeted at the old rate.
Oh, hey, we just picked up $8,000.
Oh. Big move.
All right. Further discussion? Commissioner Cooper?
Okay, here's my standard. First of all, this shouldn't be no surprise. I mean, annually we get this. We have a whole bunch of contracts that are due every year. We should think ahead, plan ahead, and go out for bids. I mean, this is just a liability insurance, nothing special about it. But yet every year we continue to do no bid contracts for certain individuals, this being one of them. And of course I'm going to vote no on that. I detest no bid contracts, and I think everything, you know, especially at this $189,000, $181,000. I think, you know, you get it out there, local insurance, local folks, and perhaps they can sharpen their pencil and give us a, you know, we can keep it local and we can get a better package for it. So we will never know unless we do it.
Anyone else?
I just ask, is there any particular justification why we don't go out for a, is this the only,
You and I have
the
been
only
talking about
games
this
in town? Or is this
Probably not the right person to address it to. I know that the MMRMA specializes in providing liability insurance to public entities like the county. That's what they do. I think it's a nonprofit cooperative, and you get a return just like we got a return of how much? $44,000. You know, where if you buy a policy, again, it may be $44,000 less, but you know, this is one of those pools that governmental units form in order to save money for things like this. Well, that's why it exists.
okay, thank you.
But if you'd ever go look, and we used to do that kind of argument for our healthcare, and then, you know, Don Wilson came in and they give us a plan. I don't know how that's working out, but, you know what I mean? You know, there's something out there, someone wants to make some money, and, you know. I mean, we're never gonna know unless we do it. That and our unemployment insurance too, there's another one that we don't, our Michigan Mutual, is that what we
We're self-funded.
self-funded on that one? I thought we did that through MAP.
It is through MAP, but we are self-funded.
Yeah, but I mean, we had Pingator do it before, and they would have given us a better deal even, but, insisted on going with the MAP, so.
Well, I know we do utilize this liability insurance on a regular basis. They've been good to work with, and it needs to be in place in a week from now. So I think the ship sailed on this particular policy at least. So is there further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote no.
No.
Motion carries. There's one more, right? 9/11 dispatch. We have, the negotiated contract terms in front of you. Again, I think the administrator pointed out that, if you wanna talk about the contract in detail, cause they haven't approved it yet, isn't that correct?
I was told by their union rep that they have approved it.
They have approved it.
They will be signing tomorrow.
Okay. Did you wanna say anything else about it? Jim?
We feel it's a very fair contract. There was a lot of bargaining to it, something that Tim can live with within his budget. And I think it's generous, but it's a step in the right direction.
I'll move acceptance of the contract with dispatchers.
I'll support.
Motion made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Kinsella, that the dispatcher's contract through the Fraternal Order Police Labor Council for 2014 through 2017 be approved. Is there further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Is there anything else left to deal with this evening?
I hope not.
No? I hope not, yeah. I guess I just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, there you go.
And is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
Motion to adjourn, Commissioner Kinsella, supported by Commissioner McLean. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye. This meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get much for 15,000, but
Remember when they started, all those money
yeah.
and then it goes to committee and then Don McLean's going to board, it's with his this and that.
But
Next thing you know, got a survey, do a survey and they did that. Sure. And then they're